Hey guys, Stephanie Naylor here. I am going to show you my method of making felt samples and reasons why they are going to be the best thing for your mailings and why they're so cost effective and last through the summer heat and everything. So they are my favorite thing for mailing. That being said, I will still do wax mold samples for my local people or parties or just anybody that I'm passing samples out to on a daily basis. But as far as mailings go, it's the felt samples that I use, and I want to show you today how I make those and why they're so great. So just to give you an example, this is one that's already packaged up. This is a felt sample. It's dipped in wax. It is cut in the shape of a leaf. This one specifically is. And I get those off of a lady on Etsy, and her name is Jan McCorkle, and she has an Etsy shop called Pear Creek Cottage. And so that's Pear Creek Cottage. And I can post that information on underneath the video link here too. But pearcreekcottage.etsy.com is where you can get felt samples. You can get them in all kinds of different shapes, and sizes. You can even just do like circles or whatnot. But like here's some stars. These are seashells. I've got what resembles a Scentsy star before, because she does those as well. And like I just showed you, I have a leaf for my current samples that I'm making. So but time to time, like when I am out of her shape felt samples and I just need to make some quick ones, or if I have an event and I don't have enough of her shape samples, I will just go ahead and cut up just like the sheets of felt that you can get at like Hobby Lobby or Michael's. You can get them for, I don't know, like 4 for $1. It's really cheap. You can get quite a few little rectangles or squares out of that. So I'll just cut them up into like strips, just like that. So nothing fancy, but it still works, and it'll still get the job done, and you can make it stretch a lot longer that way. So let me get a sheet of felt to show you. So like this is what I'm talking about that you can get at the store. I believe they're like 3 or 4 sheets for $1. So you can just cut this up if you're in a bind, or if you just don't really care about having fancy shapes. You can cut these up and they work just as well. So okay, so today I've been working on making my felt samples for the scent of the month for September, which is the coconut pumpkin pie. So that's what I'm working on. Trying to get my mailings ready. This is just an example of an envelope that I will put my samples in with the flyer and some other information so that I can send these out to my Sample of the Month Club members. So I'll just like fold this flyer up, pop a sample in between, and put that in the envelope. And then usually I'll include something about joining, and include something about any other specials that we might be having that month. Or if there's anything new that just came out, I'll print off something to put in there for that. So this is just an example. This month I'm kind of playing with things a little bit. I decided to get some fun little festive stamps, and I have some black ink too, but just gonna add my own little touch. And that's another thing that you can do if you just have white envelopes and you can't find decorative or color envelopes. Just make it your own. Just get some stamps and get an ink pad and make it your own and make it pretty and fun, and I'm telling you, people will enjoy it. So that's just an example of an envelope that I use. Okay, so I want to show you what I use to melt my wax so that I can make my samples. I currently use what is the, it's the Wilton Chocolate Pro. It's a chocolate melter that you can get at like Michael's or Hobby Lobby. If you get it at, Michael's or Hobby Lobby, they usually have coupons that you can use, and so it's just kind of like an element warmer inside, and it's got this little metal pot that goes inside, and it has a little pour notch there, so that after your wax is melted, which it is melted, it's all going down there, but after your wax is melted, then you can use that to easily pour if you're making like the actual wax shapes, samples, molds, wax molds, and out of the candy molds and things. So it makes that a lot easier to be able to pour in, so you're not making a big huge mess. So but that's not what you do for the felt samples. The felt samples is a little bit different. For felt samples, I've lost it. For felt samples, I usually have a pair of tweezers that I will use to, I don't know where those went. Okay. So for felt samples, I usually have a pair of tweezers that I'll use to kind of like guide my sample around and everything. I am going to pause the camera so that I can show you how I put that in the warmer and how I take them out and everything. So, so here's kind of what you end up with, is these little wax covered felt samples. But let me show you what it looks like from inside the actual melter. Okay, so here's the Wilton Chocolate Pro again, and as I was mentioning, I put a cube or so, a couple cubes in there of the wax to melt. And what I do is it has 3 settings, which is off, warm, and melt. So I will always put it on melt. That's what's going to make the wax melt the fastest for you so that you can get the job done. So that's what I put it on. So right now it is all melted, as you can see. So I will get my felt shapes ready. So these are just little stars. So as you can see, just a simple little star. And you put that in the warmer just like that. So I will put like, just a handful in there just so they can soak up that wax. So just like that. I'll probably put a few more in there.
I want one, Mommy.
And this is Sydney. She is my daughter, and she's helping me. What are we doing, Sid? Are we making samples?
Yes.
Okay.
We're going to make this.
Leave that one alone. I'm actually going to use the stars. You want to put the star in here?
Yes.
Just drop it in there. There we go. So you see it, the felt just kind of soaks up the wax there.
Oh, yes.
Yep.
And an exercise for me?
Do you want to do another one?
Yes. I don't know what to do.
So, okay, so there goes, soaking up the wax. So what I'll do with that is I usually keep a pair of tweezers, and what I'll do is just kind of, I'll slide oops, it's hard to see what I'm trying to. I'll just slide each one up to the side. So that like the excess wax can kind of just
I do this, Mommy.
melt off. Just a second. Just a second. I'll help you.
Okay.
Hold on. So I just slide them up on the side there so that the excess wax will melt off. And so it's soaking that up. And what I want to do is I want to prep, obviously you want to do this before, but you want to get out just some wax paper. So, you want to lay out your wax paper because what you're going to do is grab these stars here and you're just going to kind of lay them out on your wax paper so that they can set.
Oh, I do it.
Hold on, Mommy's going to do it right now because this is a little hot.
Oh,
Okay. So
I do it.
basically that's all you do as far as dipping it, soaking it, and then just getting it out of the warmer there. And after these set, they will turn into these heart pieces.
Oh.
So, like here's a star here. So it's actually hard. So what it is it's the wax has just absorbed on the felt so that it hardens up. This is still kind of soft. So once it hardens up, basically what that's going to be good for is when you get it and you put it in a little plastic baggie to mail out, what's going to happen is if for any reason that it gets hot, okay, it's going to actually stay within that felt. So even if it melts off the felt, as soon as it gets cool enough, it's going to absorb back onto the felt. So it's not going to cause a big mess like if you had mailed out a wax sample of just a mold. It's not going to cause a big mess. So in the summer months, it's the best thing to mail because of that. And then also because it is felt, it is flat. So it will stay flat. And then you can put it in your envelope and with a flyer or maybe even another piece of paper, you're still only going to be spending the regular 49-cent stamp amount to mail these. So they're the most cost-efficient way to get out your samples. And like I said, they will do fine in all types of weather. So the felt is what helps absorb it. So when you send these out to your customers, basically what's going to happen is they're going to pop it in their warmer and it's going to do this exact same thing. So it's going to heat the wax and it's going to give off the fragrance. So they're going to get the same experience as if they had the wax mold. You know, you've officially sent them a sample that was you know, not a lot to mail, and they're still getting the same experience, and they can experience that scent of the month, and they're gonna love it. So the next thing, you know, I make sure I put them in the bags, and then I just put on the sticker of what the fragrance is. So I'll just put that on there to label it. If I, for some reason, don't have the labels, or I don't have enough labels of the Scentsy scratch and sniff labels, I'll just print my own. And I'll print it and I'll say something like sniff or heat, please don't eat. And I'll put the name, which this one is Pomelo Fiesta, and I'll put August 2015 because that is the month that one's on special, and that is the scent of the month for August. So I'll just do that, and sometimes I'll even put my name on the back of here. I do that for like if I'm handing these out in public or at events and things. I don't necessarily always put my name on it if I'm just mailing it out to one of my customers because they know it came from me, you know, because the envelope says that, and my flyers and everything that I put in it is going to have my label on it as well. So I don't really worry about I don't really worry about putting the sticker on the back of that for when I'm mailing out. But as far as like if I have events and I'm passing out these samples, I'm definitely going to make sure I put my name and information on the back, because what if somebody just grabs this and they don't grab my business card or flyer? Well, if they like this, everything they're going to need to know is right here on it. They are going to know that this is the fragrance name, this is the month it came out. They're going to know that they can't eat this. And they're gonna know who to call if they want more or where to buy it at, with my website and email and phone number. So if anything, if you are carrying around samples and you are carrying around any sample, whether it's felt or wax, make sure that your samples are labeled so that people can find you, because they're not always going to keep your flyer, but they will most likely keep your sample so that they can use it or smell it. So so that is about it as far as how you make the actual felt samples. Let me switch cameras here. Okay, so now that I've showed you how to make the felt samples, that is pretty much it. You just bag them up and then you can put them, like I said, in the flyer and in the envelope. It's only one stamp to mail unless you're like filling it full of a bunch of flyers, which you don't really need to. Just usually something about the scent of the month, the warmer of the month, and maybe joining, and that's all you really need to put in here. I'll also sometimes put a scratch and sniff sticker on the outside, and I'll definitely put my return label, the to label, and I'll slap some washi tape on the back. So it just kind of fancies it up, and people get excited when they see this really cool little envelope coming in the mail for them. They feel really special. So that's that. One other thing I wanted to mention is if you need to make a lot of samples for an event, especially if it's a big event, don't worry about the fun shapes. Don't worry about wax mold samples because they're probably not going to be as cost effective because they're going to be too big. I just recommend cutting the 4 for $1 felt sheets up into these tiny little rectangles and soaking them up. My last event, I made over 100 of these samples. I made them in about 10 minutes or less. You know, they're the most cost-effective thing. I used less than an actual, I used less than a bar actually. I used probably about half of a bar. And I don't even think I might have used a whole sheet of the felt, or maybe not even a whole sheet, and I got like 100. So it just depends on how big you cut them, but that's going to be the most cost-effective thing to hand out for samples at an event as well. So just know that going in, that felt is cost-effective. You can cut your own. You don't have to worry about getting the fancy shapes unless you're doing like a scent of the month and you want to be cute and fancy with it. But this is where it's at. So just if you have any questions, just let me know and I will answer them for you. I'll do another video showing you how I pour the wax mold samples and how I package them up. So have a great day.